I'm not making an excuse, but you cannot expect a team to chase around Kyler Murray for 40 minutes and not ask for a breather.
Right.
Not get parched, not get winded. Derek Brown is 300 and something pounds.
He's going to get gassed. It's just going to happen. It's going to happen.
All right. What's up, Coley? Hey, there was some good football this weekend.
There was. It was better than last weekend. That's what I'll say. It was slightly better. I think last weekend was tough. It was a tough one to debut a football show after. This weekend it looked more like a traditional football weekend. But me and YC were talking before the show, even looking forward to next week. I don't know what's going on with the league. I don't know if everyone's mid, if there's only a couple great teams. I don't know what's going on.
Well, go ahead, break it down. Talk about what our audience is what they're gonna hear before we get started.
Well, we're gonna break down your Panthers, my Patriots, as always.
Oh yes, we are.
We sure are.
Yes, we are.
We're gonna give our Patriots. We're going to give our bronze, silver, and gold from this past weekend. We're going to do some fantasy versus reality, a couple of players across the league from my perspective and 89's. And then we're going to give our bronze, silver, and gold if you could only watch one game this upcoming weekend to wrap it all up. So where would you like to begin? Would you like to begin with your Panthers or the Bailey Zappe era Patriots?
You first, sir.
I think the Patriots found themselves a quarterback.
Why do you say that?
Bailey Zappe came into this game, first career start. First career appearance on the road, Green Bay, Lambeau. And he was moving the ball. He only had 99 total yards, but the offense was humming. We were running the ball well. We were running with conviction. We were in that game. I don't know why we stalled out in overtime. I don't know why we threw the ball on third down. If we just kept running the ball, I think we get in field goal distance and Nick Folk ends it. It felt like we were playing for a tie. That's what it felt like watching it in real time. It felt like we were perfectly content leaving Lambeau with a tie. But Davante Parker looked more comfortable receiving passes from Zappe.
It's really interesting, right? Talking about the New England Patriots and then clumping them in the same category of the Pittsburgh Steelers, just keeping it at AFC heavy right now. Man, it is intriguing to watch when you have a system. It's not like all of a sudden they changed up this system. When you have a system and things look dramatically different, a shot of adrenaline in the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive arm when you just change quarterbacks, when you just change the decision maker. I thought Mac Jones is and was a guy that maybe it was the plays, maybe it was the play caller, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, right? Mr. Trubisky, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But really what it is when your decision maker isn't making really good decisions, Trubisky and Mac Jones right now for the offense are three-legged donkeys who are in a four-legged donkey race.
Right.
That is not going to help you.
No.
All of a sudden, you put them in the three-legged race with the other three-legged animals, and all of a sudden, yes, they didn't win, but man, there was a lot more progress than we ever expected.
Is that, since it was like Brian Hoyer starts the game and Zappe comes in, is there a little bit more adrenaline from the rest of the players? Like, hey, we know this is a young guy, we got to pick it. And what my question is, will that translate to next week, or will that kind of dissipate?
I don't know if it will translate next week because, we only know what we know. We only have a sample size. But the sample size, right, if you're heading down Costco or, my grandmother, God rest her soul, she used to do samples, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I experienced seeing that, like, if you got a good product, right, and you got a good preparer, man, that's a pretty good snack right there.
I'd like some more of that. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and then that's where you go, hey, you could buy the whole box right down aisle 7, right? And I just don't really see that the defense or the offense or the players around them play better. I think the players actually had a shot. They felt that things are improving. Not just like, oh, here we go again with this dude.
Right.
Here we go again with this play. Like, the plays are actually working now. They're moving the ball down the field. You talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. The RPO game actually is a true legitimate option.
Right.
It was amazing to see how well the game changed for the New England Patriots with Brian Hoyer going down.
Yeah.
Right. I assumed, like, oh man, it's not gonna go well.
It typically doesn't go well when Hoyer stays in. I think his last 11 starts, not including this Packers one, they've averaged like 12 points and he's 0-11. So it's like he's a true blue backup. Like he knows the playbook. He doesn't have the tools to start. I think everyone can agree on that. But he's like a third coach in a way. Like I was shocked they didn't give Zappe the start to begin with, because it's like, what's the goal with Hoyer? Like, you're probably not going to win.
Well, the goal with Hoyer is, hopefully he doesn't. We know he's not going to put up 500 yards.
Right.
Well, we don't know what Zappe's going to do. So let's go with someone we're familiar with, right?
Right.
Football is about coaches being comfortable, and also at times coaches just running plays, right? There are some coaches that just run plays, right? Transition to my team here, the Carolina Panthers versus the Arizona Cardinals. Wow. I do have to read a stat. We do watch and listen to our fans, and one of the fans said, "Man, Steve, I need more banter, less stats, right? Too many numbers." I'm also a numbers guy because I like numbers, right? I like the numbers to tell me something. So I'm gonna give you one number that really summarizes why I'm extremely disappointed in the Carolina Panthers losing a game this week, because it does not get better after this. Right? My two favorite teams right now, obviously Carolina Panthers and then my Utah Utes. Right? My Utah Utes are playing UCLA this week, and next week USC. Two tough games. Yes. Yes. It's going to be so you can't go out here sleepwalking and lollygagging. Right? Can't be butterfly chasing, booger picking. You got to be ready to go the next couple of weeks. The Arizona Cardinals, prior to Sunday's game, trailed 95% of the offensive snaps. 95% of the offensive snaps. And the one game they won was off a defensive touchdown.
Right.
And we lost to that team. It was pedestrian like the first half. Oh, it was miserable. Like watching a football game. Look at all my notes. I was just asterisk and highlighting, and it was just whew.
So last week I asked you about DJ Moore,
Mm-hmm.
and it was almost as if the local Carolina media took what you said and did the opposite. They immediately went to his locker and said, what do you guys need to do to get on the same page?
Here's one I dislike. All through the broadcast for the Carolina Panthers playing the New Orleans Saints, kept hearing, yeah, man, these quarterbacks and the receivers, they got to get on the same page. Man, that's how you divide a team.
But leading up to the exact opposite thing you said helps a team. What's got like is this a dead team? Like is what's going on in that? Like after another loss, the Arizona Cardinals, and I know I want to get your Kyler takes because you were texting about him over the weekend too. But what's like? Is DJ Moore like? Is he about to be asking out? Are they going to be going back to Darnold the second he gets healthy? What's going on in Carolina?
I really believe DJ Moore has handled himself in the most professional manner that a wide receiver. You talk about wide receivers are divas. You talk about wide receivers this or that. I tell you who is the most unstable group, the most unstable and shielded and coddled group is the quarterbacks, actually. They get all the money, and they get coddled and they get protected in ways that sometimes is not productive for the team, right? I'm not Dan Orlovsky. Not going to act like I'm Dan Orlovsky. I like Dan. I'm really impressed with a lot of quarterbacks, whether they're a backup or not, because quarterbacks get the advantage of when you're a quarterback or a backup quarterback, whether you're good or not, doesn't matter. You get so much intel and information as a quarterback. Your responsibility is so greater. So I do understand and get why quarterbacks get paid a lot of money because, one, they touch the ball every single time.
Yep.
They have to know the line protection. They have to know the routes. They have to know the verbiage. They have to know why sliding, all the different moving parts of the offense. They just don't show up and dress nice. They actually have to know every finite detail. Tight ends have a hitch. If you're on a route system where a number system where one is a hitch for a wide receiver, one may be a drag for the tight end. Mm-hmm. Right? So and then one may be a flat for the running back. So you have to know all the different responsibilities of everyone. So that's always that. So that in itself. So a lot. Now also know I have to know defensive fronts, defensive blitzes, coverages. So it is a huge responsibility, and it's not every quarterback physically and mentally are built the same. They are not.
Definitely.
Right. And with that being said, sometimes teams are willing to protect their quarterback so much that they can not even realize they can erode at the gut relationship and at the locker room of your team, right? And when you start to say they're not on the same page, or when I start looking at 9 batted balls, right? So I was talking about Dan Orlovsky. Dan pointed out some things about the Carolina Panthers, and he, to some degree, everybody has tips that we give out. There's a tip back in the day that Terrell Suggs told me that he knew about Ben Roethlisberger. And it was a small tip that how Big Ben's foot was under center, whether it was I think it was his heel was up or down or flatter. It was something he knew it was pass or run, so whatever. Whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. That was one of the things that T. Sizzle knew and felt comfortable in tipping off and how he went through his routine and understanding how to play ball, right, on defense. Mm. So with that being said, when the Carolina Panthers go 3-by-1 or 2-by-1, with a wide receiver with a condensed or a short split on the short side of the ball, on the short side of the field, we go quick out. First play of the game versus Cleveland Browns. Robbie Anderson is lined up. We try to throw a quick out, balls batted down. This weekend, same thing. We tried to throw it, condensed split, 3-by-1, quick out, batted ball. J.J. Watt. Man, the thing why I'm mentioning this is if I'm sitting at home in sweatpants and socks with a heated blanket watching a football game, what do you think an organization that has analytics, scouting department, what do you think they're doing?
Right.
Watching the Carolina Panthers offensively, defensively, they're playing some good football. Mm-hmm. We're getting left in the games. You cannot expect, and I'm not making an excuse, but you cannot expect a defensive team, to chase around Kyler Murray for 40 minutes and not ask for a breather.
Right.
Not get parched, not get winded. Like Derek Brown is 300 and something pounds.
He's going to get gassed. It's just going to happen. It's going to happen.
You on the field for 40 plays. And how you can help yourself is, one, you got Christian McCaffrey. He doesn't get the ball. Deontay Foreman, he's not on the team right now. I'm not sure why.
Right.
Rashad Higgins, you dress him, he doesn't play. You're running RPOs, and all you're running is PO. You're not running no R's.
Nobody's getting fooled. Yeah, nobody.
Who?
Right. That's what I mean. Nobody.
It's not happening. We're not getting any first downs. And when you don't get any first downs, man, you get one of these first downs, that's 3 extra plays, more opportunity, more rest for your defense.
Right.
Man, it's bad. Man, it's bad football.
What's the fix?
There is no fix. You don't go out and get. There is no quarterback sitting at the house going, "Call me up, I'm ready."
No.
Put me in.
Well, I'm sure there are people saying that, but they're wrong. Yeah, they're wrong.
There are no legitimate
right.
guys that are sitting at home that are eligible to play in the National Football League that will change the trajectory of your football team like that. There are reasons why an individual or individuals are at the house right now. I have a small chance of playing football right now until I get on the football field and discover I haven't played football in 6.5 years. There's the reason why. No matter what my heart and mind think it may say, I'm telling you, here in North Carolina, Casey and JoJo, Jodeci, but my body's telling me no. Not happening. It's abundantly clear that the only way that the Carolina Panthers are going to win any football games is we have to eliminate RPO game and start just getting under center, running the ball, establishing a run, getting some play action activity going on. And that is where actually Baker does really well. But this hero ball that he's trying to play, you're trying to orchestrate. You had 51 plays last week, And 38 of them are pass plays because you've gotten yourself off schedule so bad.
Yeah. And Baker thinks he's like Mahomes. Like he thinks he's better outside the pocket. And the numbers just do not back that claim up. Like he is a pocket passer. And I don't know if he doesn't trust his line. I don't know if he doesn't trust himself. I don't know if he doesn't trust his height. And he wants to see that extra field when he gets outside the pocket. But for whatever reason.
Well, part of it, I think, is he's getting I think he's getting out is because he doesn't trust, we can say, oh, he doesn't trust his line. Okay, that's great. I understand there's a mistrust amongst players at different times. Like, if you're running a play off to the left and Myles Garrett is off to the left and it's Ike Ekwonu off to the left, there's a probability that you may think that it may not work out well for you, right?
Yeah, I can
There's
see
nothing wrong with that. I wouldn't be jealous you shouldn't be upset that there's a hint of hesitancy that you're going to be successful. The thing that I noticed with Baker Mayfield that I think Kyler Murray does well, Drew Brees does well, right, is understanding Kyler Murray has never been 6 feet.
No.
Legally, he's never been 6 feet. Now, on paper, he's probably been 6 feet. We all were giants at some point. Like I believe when I was in junior college, I think I was listed as 6'1", right? Ain't no way in Hades I'm 6. But
was that your call or was that
that was all me, baby. That was all me. That was all me. Hey, Steve, I'm 6'1".
The scouts come, you're standing extra straight. You get your back nice and straight. Like, nope.
You can't stand extra straight to be 6'1" when you're 5'9", 3/4. Only thing that can help that is called an apple box.
Yeah, you got the lifts and the cleats that week. Yeah.
Right. And so the thing that I noticed with Baker, right, that other guys have seen the master is Kyler, his ability to understand the throwing lanes. Kyler knows what size he is, and he understands the throwing lanes. That is why some scouts don't really necessarily like shorter quarterbacks, because not every short quarterback knows how to throw through the throwing lanes.
Right.
And it is a clear, from my observation, Baker Mayfield struggles to effectively throw through the throwing lanes like a Kyler Murray, like a Drew Brees, like a Doug Flutie, right? That these players who they weren't stature-wise, they weren't tall, but they knew how to see the routes through the throwing lanes. PJ Walker even a little bit.
Oh yeah. Is there a chance they make the call to PJ just because it's a different look?
I don't know, but here's the problem. What is Ben McAdoo doing?
People have been asking that for 5 years now.
I mean, we're not giving the ball to any of our workhorses. We're not establishing anything. It's tough to watch. It is really tough to watch this football team perform last weekend.
Now, while you were watching the game, though, you were texting me about Kyler, and you said you had some thoughts about him. You refused to text them to me, so I've been sitting on pins and needles over here waiting to hear them myself.
All right, Kyler Murray. When I watch Kyler, first of all, Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, they don't seem like they have a very symbolic relationship. They do not seem like they enjoy each other's company.
No.
Right? They really don't. Just watch when Cliff Kingsbury has to call a timeout for Kyler. Watch what Cliff does the next time you watch that.
Okay.
Right? They don't seem like they really enjoy each other's company. Kyler is such a gifted player, but it just seems like something's missing. Like when I watch him play, it's like, have I met him? Great kid. Don't have anything negative to say about him, right? And I don't want to come across like I have something negative to say. when I watch him play football, though, I'm just going, man, it's just something missing, and I don't know what. Right? He seems to leave plays on the field. Like, does he do some wild plays? He'll give you some wild plays, but then he also gives you some plays you go, make it just second. It's just something there. It's like when you eat something and you go, man, it's missing something. I'm not sure what it is. Like, is it relish? Is it is it ketchup? Is it salt? It's just something missing. It's not a bad meal. It's not a bad player. He's not a horrible teammate. I don't believe any of that stuff. I just think when I watch him play, I'm going, it's just missing something.
We talk about Cliff. Could it be as simple as the coach isn't?
You think what is your observation on Cliff Kingsbury?
Seems like a nice enough guy.
Cool cat.
Very cool. In terms of being a coach, you talk about leaving something to be desired. Even in college, like I don't fully understand how he got the NFL job, because his college resume, I mean, we're looking at 35 and 40, 1-2 in bowl games. He was at Texas A&M with Johnny Football as an assistant. Then he gets the head coaching job at Texas Tech with Baker Mayfield. Baker transfers immediately. And then he gets Patrick Mahomes. And he doesn't have a single winning season until, I believe, his last season. And then he gets he has a different quarterback for 2 years, gets the call to the Cardinals. Cardinals made the playoffs once, I believe, since he's been there. I think they were 8-0 last year until Call of Duty came out, and then everything happened after that. So I like when I hear air raid offense, and when I watch college football, that ball's flying around. Flying all like when I watch Baylor, for example, for however long Baylor's been at college, they've seemed to, regardless of head coach, they've had very similar ball flying all over the field offenses. And then when I watch the Arizona Cardinals, and I watched Rondale Moore last year, and his average depth of target was -1 yard for the whole season, behind the line of scrimmage. You're getting one of the most dynamic playmakers in his draft class. You can only get him the ball behind the line of scrimmage for the entire season. When they take a guy like Andy Isabella out of UMass, one of the fastest receivers in his draft class, but you take him over A.J. Brown, that whole second round. It's like, all right, is it the decision makers here that they're stocking the pantry with bad product around Kyler? Obviously, we know Hopkins is out for a couple more weeks, but it's like, that's just one guy. Zach Ertz has kind of become his favorite target because I don't know if he trusts him the most. Greg Dortch is having a great year, but it's like, is it the players around Kyler, and that's why he's leaving a little bit more to be desired? Or is it just simply the play calling's really not that dynamic to begin with? And when you have a dynamic quarterback like this, that seems to be the thing every other team is at night praying for. Like, get me a guy like Kyler Miller. I've got this whole bag of plays I've been waiting to use, but I can't do it with Mac Jones. I can't run him outside the pocket and have him chuck it deep. Like, that's not who he is. Yeah. And now you've got Kingsbury playing what every time I watch the Cardinals feels like a very conservative team. And it feels like you've got a Ferrari in the garage. You're almost leaving it out in the rain. You don't even have the tarp on it. So that's what I see. When I see Kingsbury, I see a guy who leaves a lot to be desired, and it's almost like an oversell, under-deliver guy.
Mm. I just see a struggle. I really just see with this team. They want to do so many things, right? It's almost like when you're at the amusement park. You want to ride every ride 5 times, and we spend so much time thinking about which ride we're going to go on first, and we spend so much time on the preparation of getting it all together and right, that we end up we don't even actually accomplish anything.
Wasting time.
we waste so much time. Well, which one are we going on first? But we got to go on in 5 rides, right? 5 times, right? It's almost we spend we're spending. They seem to be spending more time on what color the paper is printed on instead of what actually is on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Just tough. And I don't think they're going to improve.
No, especially not with J.J. Watt dying midweek. Yeah, that was tough.
I'm staying out of that. I don't know how you get defibbed and you play in a football game. Okay. I think I do know how, but I'm not dealing with that, man. Nope. Nope.
What else from this weekend? So, if we were to podium 3 games, because like you said, it was a tough week. But if you were to podium 3 games, so my bronze, I would have Seahawks Lions, just for entertainment purposes. Whole lot of, but 90, or just about 90 points in that game. Geno Smith is, I think, still above 75% completion percentage. You get DK Metcalf getting carted off the field because he had to go pinch a loaf. Just an incredible display of offense where I appreciate that when the rest of the league seems to have trouble just finding the end zone, let alone crossing it.
Bro, would you have ever believed 10 years later that Geno Smith can be the permanent solution for the Seattle Seahawks after Russell Wilson has been traded?
The entire offseason was like, man, should the Seahawks trade for Baker? Because they only have Geno Smith and Drew Lock. And now the Carolina would give up a first and Baker to go get Geno.
Man, we had to make sure to run this highlight of a great ball placement to Will Dixley. That throw in the end zone was outstanding. Sat in the pocket, delivered, and threw the ball. Wow. Right? When I break down this team, when you talk about the highlights, you got Geno Smith, just remarkable, playing really good football. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, those guys are getting back on track, right? You got big play Lockett, and then you got down the field threat, speed, muscle man speed with DK Metcalf. But Rashad Penny is really starting to look like the running back that they needed. Right? When they first got Rashad Penny, he looked like Tiptoe Tony.
Yeah.
Right? Yes, he sustained some injuries, and that's not his fault. But he did not look like the running back that I saw at San Diego State that looked like a Greek god. And he is running well, consistent. He's running hard and consistent all game long.
Do you think that's
it's really been good? I think him losing one of his good friends, no longer playing with what's Chris's last name? The running back that had
Carson.
Chris Carson. Chris Carson was. I thought Chris Carson. Obviously, he was a better running back. He was a better running back on the field. Rashad Penny seemed like a better running back in college.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's starting to play, and it's been really cool to watch him. But I would have never believed that a team that scored 48 points only wins by 3, and a team that scores 45 points loses by 3. Never would have put those two together. And add the fact the quarterback is Geno Smith for the Seattle Seahawks, and the other team that scored 45 points is the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. The Lions are averaging 35 points a game, and they're giving up 35.3 points per game. So that's just great. I love that. That.
It's an upgrade, right?
Definitely. Detroit Lions fans, like right now, the Detroit Lions fans I follow and see, they're frustrated that they're in these games, but they can't always win them. And for them, that's a great season for them. Yeah, that's tremendous. It used to be like, man, we ran out of the back of the end zone again today. You know what I mean? Like this is champagne problems for them.
No, it's not. Listen, the Detroit Lions are in coach, and their seat is right next to the lavatory. With them scoring 45 points or scoring 33 points, they have now moved 3 rows up. Still in coach, but just no longer next to the lavatory, right? And they are happy. I got a buddy that's a Detroit Lions fan, and I said, man, I'm telling you, Detroit Lions, I think they're for real. He goes, stop it. Don't do it. I need to see more. I need to see more, right? Jared Goff, serviceable, right?
Oh, yeah.
What you going to get out of Jared Goff, you're going to get this, right? Jared Goff is in the same – I believe Jared Goff is in that same category with Jimmy Garoppolo where he's not going to wow you. He's just going to do his job. Mm-hmm. He's going to do his job. Is he going to make some mistakes? Yes. Defenses are there to make you make a mistake. Jamal Williams getting the tough yards, right? Looking like the free agent acquisition worth his money in gold. And then TJ Hawkinson, he's a beast. He's doing his thing. But
they put up 45. They put up 45 without Amon-Ra, who seemed to have been like the engine to that offense. Yeah. So doing that, I think that was the biggest thing for Goff for me. Like when he has his number one, it's like, yeah, he's serviceable plus, like a little bit better than serviceable. So him putting up 45 without a guy who's really made a name for himself since midway point of last season, Amon-Ra, that said a lot to me, even if it was against the Seahawks defense, which is not exactly their calling card anymore.
It doesn't matter if that's their calling card, man. The fact that Geno Smith is throwing the ball, he's in the 70s. I think had a pass rate of like 108. What? Completion 71%. This is a guy who's like in the 60s. I'm impressed.
Yeah,
I am impressed. Now, here's what I'm not impressed with. You talking about who was that? That was our bronze.
Yeah.
So for me, based off just Geno Smith, 10-year veteran, for me that is my gold right there.
Okay.
It has to be my gold because Geno Smith 2 years ago when Russell Wilson was starter and Geno Smith was the backup, nobody knew that, and you didn't really care. But what he's been able to do is patience. He has just been sitting on the bench, playing footsies. He's really been working on his game. But here's the one that I'm really here's the one that's my silver. And the reason why I'm silver is it's the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. Just I'm gonna get on a rant right now. Okay?
Let's hear it.
Now, I'm sure you saw that it was raining in that football game, correct?
Oh yeah.
It wasn't like speckles. It wasn't Seattle mist. It wasn't London mist. It was raining. Okay. It was not raining on one half of the field. It was raining all over Pennsylvania.
Yeah, the state. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure?
1,000%.
Okay. Nick Sirianni had a towel. He had wet hair. His visor was wet. I'm pretty sure other areas in his body was wet. He probably had wet socks. Is that fair to say?
I would assume so, but yeah.
What about on the same field on the other side? Was Doug Peterson, do you think he had wet socks?
I would imagine so, yeah.
Then why in the flying fandango? Please explain to me, how is it the Philadelphia Eagles discovered it was wet, but the Jacksonville Jaguars did not? Philadelphia Eagles ran the ball. They realized, they said, hey, this bad weather? Our receivers are struggling to catch the ball. So let's go ahead and change up our game plan. We're going to run the ball. Miles Sanders is running himself into a nice contract, is he not?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, especially after last year.
They are Nick Sirianni has been extremely impressed. I've been extremely impressed with his ability each week to say, hey, we're going to adapt to we're going to change our game plan based on who we're playing. We're not going to run our system. We're going to run the game plan that we need to run to win the game. Why are the Jacksonville Jaguars throwing the ball when it's raining?
Literally a hurricane.
Yes. Hold on. It's raining so bad that your referee pulled his hamstring trying to slow down when chasing the play down to do his job. My man there was DK Metcalf who had to get carted off to use the bathroom. No problem with that. And then the referee got carted off for pulling his hammy. But we got Nick Sirianni on one side of the field, and then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars who are throwing the ball as if it is sunshine and rainbows going on. They lost that game not because the Jacksonville Jaguars are not a good team. They lost that game because they wanted to just run their plays versus trying to change and alternate the game. Like, it was remarkable how the Philadelphia Eagles adjusted their game plan immediately. And it was a difference in why they were able to take off.
And it's always impressive to me when a coach sticks with the plan when they fall behind.
Yes.
Because the Jags did get off to a lead, and Sirianni, to his credit, was like, we're sticking with it. We're not going to adjust and try and play. We're going to play our game, and we're going to believe in what we do.
Our game switched because it was raining.
Right. Yeah. But even still, it's just like, I believe in what we can do so much. And that for the players, that has to be like, yeah, we're just going to play big boy football today. We're just going to put our balls on the table and we're going to run it down their throats. And I think, what did Lawrence fumble 4 times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they were throwing ball. They were throwing screens and ball behind. It just wasn't. I'm like, come on, what are we doing? And that defense, Jacksonville's defense is legit, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're fast. They hit you. Devin Lloyd, University of Utah, you out there playing well.
I was about to bring him up. I feel like he's been the heartbeat to that defense. Like they have a lot of talent all over the field, but even the Jaguars fans I follow, they're like, Lloyd came in here and he's got everyone where they're supposed to be. He's covering up for everyone. He's doing everything.
But the defense is just playing great football too.
Oh yeah,
man, they're playing really good football. Who you got as your silver, or did you? Who's your gold? Who's your gold?
I was gonna save gold for last, but my gold is Bills Ravens. Big comeback for Josh Allen.
Man, that's my bronze.
That's your bronze? Yeah. What didn't live up to expectations?
20 unanswered points, man. You let a team beat you that didn't show up for 28 minutes.
Yeah.
That's not that is not that can come back to bite you in the butt come playoff time.
Definitely.
Teams are going to watch that tape for areas to see where the chink in your armor is. So that's my bronze and that's your gold.
It's my gold just because it was like here's 2 MVP candidates, MVP front runners going into this game, and you didn't leave the game feeling like either of them are the MVP. And it's still super early. Yes, but it was like Lamar throws a late pick. The Ravens defense played okay up until that late third, early fourth quarter. You were texting us The Bills need to run the damn ball. Josh Allen just started running the damn ball. That's a problem. You talk about playoffs biting them in the butt. They need to figure it out. I don't know if it's the line. I don't know if Singletary's not the guy. I don't know if Cook needs more touches. But there's a problem with Buffalo running the ball.
We can't. I dislike that we keep saying that all these running backs are the problem. You don't give them the ball to know.
Well, that's why I said I don't know what it is. That they have a problem.
The problem is the same problem we have in Carolina. Is your RPO. The RPO game is a good. It obviously is now because of it's run so much in college. They've adapted here, and you want to adapt to have success with your current players. The RPO game is a game that has to do with the decision maker, and a lot of times the decision makers aren't always making sound decisions, and that get them in trouble. Josh Allen, his RPO most of the time, unless it's clearly there, man, he's gonna run that ball. And I don't mind it right now where he's young, full of zeal, but at some point, when you get older, that those hits are gonna take a toll on you. I'm not wishing that on him.
No, of course not.
I'm just telling you, I've seen this movie before. There may be a new star, but the story is the same every time.
It's the same plot, yeah.
Yeah. The Buffalo Bills are a team that I don't really have anything negative to say about them or any of that. What the Buffalo Bills are, they're a really good team who deserve all the credit. The problem is going to be is what happens. They're hitting so much adversity early. I'm wondering how much are they going to have left in the tank in December and January.
Yeah, they came in week one so hyped up. They steamroll the Rams.
Well,
and now they get all these injuries. Go ahead.
Yes, that's what the injuries, right? What's going to happen? You know December and January, you don't get healthier. You don't get healthier at the end of the year. You know someone like Gabriel's going to get a hamstring. He's going to get something. Stephon Diggs. Somebody's going to get something that you're going to need some other guys. And I feel like they're shooting their shot right now. Like they're giving us all they have. Like they're in the – man, they are in their reserves and using all their capital and principal right now in the first 4 weeks.
They very much have been playing like they think the Super Bowl has already started. Like
yes.
That these points count towards the Super Bowl. That's how it looks. And I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing to have that mindset, but in terms of like the physical toll, you're right. I don't know. But there is, I mean, if you're talking about a wide receiver getting banged up, there is a guy floating out there. He's not healthy at the moment. Will be healthy in a month or two.
Okay. Well, in that healthiness, you got to get on the same page. You got to learn the offense.
Definitely.
You got to get in football shape too. Right. You could go ahead and simulate, which will help you, but it still won't change anything once you get in the game. You're going to be gassed a little bit.
Right.
You know.
So do you think what's like the latest someone can come back? And
I don't know. I'm not.
Different?
I can't sit here and cap. And I mean cap meaning cap off to say that, you know, we're talking about Odell Beckham can, you know, if he doesn't come in by this time, Odell he's a supreme athlete. He trains his butt off. But even with training, training cannot help you when you get inside, when you get in the game, emotions get high and all that stuff, man. That stuff is just, you can't simulate that. You can, you
Right.
can try, and you can do a really good job of it, but it still does not give you the same feeling of playing in a real football game.
What was your silver?
So,
We both have silver left.
so my bronze was Buffalo, Baltimore,
Yeah.
Detroit, Seattle was gold.
Oh, Eagles. You said Eagles.
Yes,
Eagles,
Eagles.
Jags. My
Eagles.
apologies. Mine was Chiefs, Bucks.
Why?
Because Mahomes is reminded everyone he's still that guy.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about Allen Mahomes, or we were talking about Allen Lamar and Mahomes versus Brady, a guy who historically the Chiefs have struggled with a bit. But he after a down week against the Colts, who reverted back to looking like food.
Oh, the Colts are in trouble.
Yeah.
I like Frank Reich, and this is not looking good. He's such a good coach too. Goodness gracious, he's a good coach. But something is going on with the Colts, and I don't think anybody has the answer.
No. But Mahomes is he's making it work. He's got a whole new receiving core. He's got underhand pop-ups to guys that he wills open, which is, I mean, you're shaking your head, but that stuff, no one else is doing that.
No, I know he practices that in practice. I can't say he told me it's a play that it's a throw that he's been practicing now that he's got it down pat. When he brings it out, it's going to be bananas.
So not that one. He's got one we haven't even seen yet.
Yes, it's one that he hasn't even seen. Crazy.
Is he going to go like under his leg?
I'm not getting into that, brother. I'm not.
We'll know when we see it.
When you see it, you'll know. When he told me when I was down there, he told me, "Whoo, that thing's foul."
Now, when you hear stuff like that, is it like, man, why are you even practicing this? Like, is it necessary?
When I hear it, I was like, "Ooh." Oh, okay. I was like, I like it. Can't wait to see it.
Yes, for sure.
I said, well, how did you get it? Man, I've just been working on it. I like it. I just said.
He's a lunatic, and I love it.
And he's a worker bee, man. He's a worker bee. He really loves to work. He has, obviously one of the good coaches with Andy Reid. Eric Bieniemy is a good guy too, man. Eric Bieniemy challenges and pushes his guys to practice. So they do a lot of great things down in Kansas City. Big Red, man, he does not put his foot on the brake. He makes you practice hard. Those guys practice. Like if you're not used to practicing, don't go to Kansas City Chiefs. If you're one of those guys that you like to practice a little bit, don't go to Kansas City Chiefs. They practice. He believes in practicing.
I mean, the results speak for themselves. I hear a lot of players when they come to New England. Torrey Holt retired after his first practice with him, and Reggie Wayne were like, you know what? This is not for me. This is a little much. I don't know what you guys are trying to prove.
I talked to Reggie and I asked him. He said, "Dog, no."
I believe it.
He said, I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, man. No, this ain't for me, dog." I said, "Okay."
Well, especially those guys too. They're like trying to give one more go at it, one more run. It's like, all right, I'm not trying to work this hard for my last year. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a rookie, I get it. You got all that youthful energy. You're 36.
When you're 36, you're like, I'll get a day off. Excuse me?
You want me to run up that hill? How many times? Where's my agent? I'll file the paperwork.
File the paperwork. Man, I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah. Nice meeting you.
I got other things to do, and practice is not it. All right. Man.
So fantasy versus reality. Is that where you want to go?
Man, I want to go to Armchair Quarterback. That's what I want.
Boy.
Boy. I want this Armchair Quarterback. Talk to me. Talk to me. Because you are the epitome of the disgruntled fan, right? Right. And here's
I feel
why.
like I'm pretty level-headed.
Terrible. You're not level-headed. You're not. You call somebody food. You say, "Oh,
The
that's
Colts are food. The Colts are food.
What is food? First of all, what is food?
Food is something that's been caught, cooked, prepared, and is in front of you. You get to play with your food. Your food is it's trash. It's rubbish. You don't want to be food.
From a guy who's 6 foot.
Like, you keep talking about my height. Say the weight. You know you want to say the weight.
No, I don't. I'm just talking. I'm just saying that
you don't want to be food. You want to be the one eating.
That's the armchair quarterback that I dislike, though, man. The guy sitting at the house, like you think the Colts or some of these people woke up and said, "Hey, we want to be super duper terrible today. We don't want to show up. We have zero desire to make everybody productive today."
No, of course I don't think that's what they want.
But sometimes fans come at them so tough, man.
Was that being that tough? Was that like
he's prepared, he's cut, he's like, that's not a great attribute. You didn't say it with it. That
was not a great team.
Okay, well, I mean,
like the Patriots right now have been food. Like they're not. It's just like, yeah, they're not a good team. Like
when I was down there in New England, and I was listening to the radio when they were
terrible idea.
Oh, it was a great idea. It was exactly what I needed to hear. Right. Man, they were talking. They were killing Belichick. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's this. Man, these armchair quarterbacks just know everything, right? And why the armchair quarterback? Here's what I'm saying, right? So you talk about fantasy, armchair fantasy versus reality. Here's the problem I have. We talk about players and look at players. My son this weekend was asking me a question. My son says, "Hey, Dad, I got this. I'm in this fantasy. I do not play fantasy. I really don't. I don't know how to play fantasy because what goes into fantasy and is required, I have no idea, right? So he's going, Dad, I got to trade. I need a wide receiver because this guy isn't playing well. This guy wants to trade me, but he wants one of my running backs. You think I should?" And I said, "Well, who are your running backs?" He's like, "Well, should I give him Antonio Gibson?" I said, "Yeah, I think you should." He goes, "What?" He goes, "Antonio Gibson, like he's the running back for the Washington Commanders." I said, "Yes." And my wife even chuckled because the way he came, he was like, that doesn't make any sense. I said, "They just activated Brian Robinson." Mm-hmm. Antonio Gibson was pretty much playing kickoff return. He's a backup right now. And he looked at me, he goes, "Antonio, he was the starter last year." And I said,
last year?
I said, "Yeah." I said, and they got this workhorse named Brian Robinson. Before he got shot, right? He was going to be the starter. He was showing that he was going to be the starting running back. And my son looked at me, he was like, it was not registering, bro. It was not ready. He was looking at me like I was an idiot. He was like, "Hold on, Dad." And he asked me, this is the way he asked me, and this was the funniest part of it. He goes, "Antonio Gibson, he plays running back." I said, "Yeah." He was also a wide receiver who was switched to running back. And he looked at me and goes, "Yeah, that one." I said, "I think he went to Memphis too."
Oh, yeah.
"Yeah." "What are you talking about? He's playing kickoff return, Dad." I said, "That was his role in the preseason." That's letting you know they just activated Brian Robinson. So that means him being activated, that means his gunshot wound is healed. Mm-hmm. They're expecting him to be able to take contact in the next week or 2 or 3. And if you look at this team, Carson Wentz is not faring very well. They need some help. They need to get the ball out of Carson Wentz's hands and put it into their worker horse. He looked at me. He's like, all right. I tell you no lie. I tell you no lie. 5 minutes later, last question, Dad. Are you sure?
And he came to you for advice, and he's giving you attitude. I love that.
No, it wasn't really it wasn't
No,
attitude.
for sure.
It was just a little bit of like
disbelief. Yeah, you
like,
sure you know?
Do you sure you know what you're talking about? And I just said, and I said, and so here's the armchair quarterbacks and the reality versus fantasy. What I struggle with fantasy owners is I'm not really keen on fantasy because you never really know what the true understanding of the game plan is that week. You don't know who they have said they're going to take away. Just like when we talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, it is pouring rain and the Jacksonville Jaguars are chucking the ball as if it is not raining. Mm-hmm. And the Philadelphia Eagles said, we will run the ball because it is really difficult to pass in this rain. When you're making your starting lineup, you don't know these things are going to happen.
Yeah, sometimes it's definitely a shock. Last year when it was the crazy weather in the Patriots Bills game, and the Patriots threw the ball 3 times. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that was that kind of stuff. Sometimes you get enough heads up, but not always, for sure.
Okay,
and there are
hold on. What armchair quarterback? What heads up would have told you that they're only going to throw the ball 3 times? Like,
no, it was more you can know the weather, and so you can know.
But would you have thought that they're only going to throw the ball 3 times?
Not 3 specifically, but I can assume it's going to be a run heavy day. Now that drastic. No.
Thank you.
No, but I can assume we're probably going to run the ball more often than we normally.
But you would have never said they will never. You would have not said, I bet you this team never throws the ball beyond five times. You'd have never thought that, huh?
No.
You'd have never brought that number out your hat.
No. And then when the game was going and we only had 1 attempt, I was hoping we didn't throw it again just because it was funny.
Yeah. But you still, even with that, you were still watching the game going, nah, they're not going to throw it 2 more times and then
No, it never crossed my mind.
Thank you. It never crossed. You never said 3. That's their max.
Yeah, done.
Yeah. 3. Oh, they're done after that. No.
Yeah, no, there are. So it's weird because I'm in an industry where it's like I have to talk with some certainty. Otherwise, why would anyone ever listen to me? You know what I mean? Like, why, if you're a consumer on the other end, why would I want to listen to a guy going, yeah, this guy's okay, but sometimes he's going to get the ball, sometimes he's not. Like, you can go anywhere for that. So, it's like.
But that's the truth, though. Like, that is honest God truth. Like,
you can package the truth differently. It's like, all right, when the Jaguars get into the end zone, and I'm making up these numbers, I don't know off the top of my head, James Robinson gets 80% of the carries. Therefore, if the Jaguars get into the red zone today, James Robinson's a good player to start because he's likely to score a touchdown. So it's not me saying like this player is guaranteed to score. It's me presenting information in a way to the consumer where it's like, yeah, this guy is more likely to score than other guys because A, B, and C.
Why can't you just – I don't mind. Sometimes you just say, man, I don't know. There are some –
of course we don't. None of us know.
Like there are sometimes I would have thought, based on watching a football game last weekend with the Carolina Panthers, that they would have came close to winning that game. Not getting ran out of town in the 4th quarter. Like that was that game. Think about this. Man, I think the Panthers, the first time they got in the red zone in the fourth quarter was at the 4-minute mark. That was the first time they got in the red zone. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was watching that game. I actually paused the game, went to another game, looked at it and said, where did these 26 points come from?
Yeah, what happened here? Yeah.
I was literally watching the game going, man, I didn't see that one coming.
I mean, that was me with Patriots. I thought we were going to get our pockets run by the Packers. I did not think that was going to be a overtime, all 10 minutes of overtime experience.
It's crazy.
So you never know.
Who do you think the Green Bay Packers are? Armchair quarterback.
I think Rodgers is still. I
think he's still elite.
Sure, but it's more. I think he's still trying to figure out who to trust and when to trust them. So even in this game against the Patriots, like Romeo Dobbs, every week I hear announcers pronounce his last name differently, so it's Dobbs this week. Romeo Dobbs, rookie out of Nevada. He hits him early, immediately fumbles, and so I'm thinking, all right, it's a rookie. Now Rodgers is going to throw him in the doghouse, not go his way the rest of the game. I believe it was the third quarter, he hits Dobbs for a touchdown. It's 500th passing touchdown of his career. Late in the game, late in the fourth quarter, he airs one out, hits Dobbs in the end zone, incompletion. And so it's like, I think he's trying to figure out, all right, I like this guy. I like what he can bring. When should I dial up his number? They handed it to the other rookie receiver, Christian Watson. They handed him a ball for a touchdown. So it's like, all right, we threw it to him week one. He dropped it when he was wide open. We're just he's dynamic.
Listen, that was a tough catch.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's a tough catch. That's one of those catches that you have to practice.
Right? Yeah, and
experience.
And that was something they knew when they drafted him he needed to work on. Like, he wasn't the most sure-handed prospect there ever was.
Whoa, wow, look at that. You need to work on something.
So and he still got Lazard. He's like late. He was still going to Randall Cobb. Yeah. I liked Randall Cobb's whole career.
I like Lazard. He's hurt. I think he was at Dallas, but James Washington. Watched them in college together. Oh, no. Lazard was at Iowa State.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yep.
Washington was at Oklahoma
State. Yeah. Yep. Got the states wrong, but I like watching both of those kids, man. Out of college, I really like both of them.
Yeah, and it's like early, in the middle of the game, he went to Tanyan, who they're working back in slowly. To me, the biggest question with the Packers, because like they got Bakhtiari back on the line, I feel like they should be running the ball more. Like, I know they're trying to establish all these connections with these young new receivers, so I get that part of it, but they've got a talented line, they've got two talented running backs. Like, don't make it harder than it needs to be.
You know what's interesting? Some people like Jones, and some people dislike AJ Dillon.
That is weird.
Like, AJ Dillon isn't that good. Right? If you look at it statistically, AJ Dillon is slowly inching his way into more and more touches.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a lot. Just is, I believe what keeps Aaron Jones on the field is they have these young receivers. So, Aaron doesn't want, he doesn't trust him. So, he does trust Aaron Jones. So he's going to, they're allowing him to line up at different positions, kind of like how Nyheim Hines is lining up at wide receiver for the Colts. Right?
Yeah.
The Colts, their receivers have zero separation. Right? It's really funny is Pascal playing well for the Eagles, Paris Campbell. Like all these players that they let walk, man, they'll give their left kidney for it right now at wide receiver. They're struggling. And that's just making Michael Pittman Jr. really struggle as well. Right.
So this transitions into something else we wanted to talk about, because your working theory, I believe, is Justin Jefferson eats when Adam Thielen eats.
Oh, do tell. Talk about it.
This is your theory. This is you.
Yeah, it was a theory. I hear you, Juicy. Right? You know, will you agree, disagree, promise to repeat? Which one?
I don't disagree by any stretch. I mean, Adam Thielen, it feels like they've worked him more into the offense lately, and Justin Jefferson went off in merry old London town this weekend.
Well, I got to show you something, right? What's crazy about Justin Jefferson, you could say, well, you know, he had 10 catches for 47 yards. Adam Thielen had 8 catches for 72 yards. 7 out of his 10 catches and 93 out of his 147, guess who they were on? Marshawn Lattimore.
Ooh.
Yes, they were. And he even hit Marshawn with that Kobe. Did you see that?
Yeah.
YC, make sure we run that when I'm talking. You got to run that. You have to run that video. Spin him like a top and then stepped over him and looked at him. And I bet he said a few words that we shall not repeat.
No, that doesn't sound right.
That thing was nasty, bro. When you did, and still went for 50.
How good of a feeling is that, especially if you're coming off like a tough week or two, and then all of a sudden you feel back in your rhythm?
Well, it has a lot to do with, you know, how it went. Darius Slay is an outstanding corner.
Slay. Don't say the D word. He doesn't like that.
Excuse me?
He hates his first name for whatever reason. He only goes by Slay.
Hey, Darius, after the trade, the question came up. Hey, Slay.
Is it tough, Darius, if you are going through
Slay?
Slay, sorry.
Does anyone call you Big Play?
Yeah, that's either be Big Play or Slay. If I hear the D name, I got a problem.
I've had him on my podcast. I've talked to him. I call him by his name. I didn't know. He didn't tell me.
Maybe that's with the media. Maybe that's just with the media, because every time there's a 2-minute clip, and YC put that in. There's a 2-minute clip of reporters in Philly saying his full name, and he will not answer their question until they correct themselves and just say Slay. Slay or Big Play Slay. That's all he responds to.
Well, I may have to get a social media. We may have to get a recording of me calling him on FaceTime.
Oh, I believe you. I believe you.
That's his name.
This offseason, it was like, all right, you only Slay, and then you've got Darius Leonard with the Colts linebacker who went back.
Shaquille,
but he said you can call him either. He was like, So you got one guy who's like, you can only call me this, and you got the other guy being like, hey man, you can call me whatever you want. So it was very funny. The two Dariuses, one picked up an extra name, the other one dropped it entirely.
I think it's Shaquille is his actual first name.
Yes.
And his middle name.
Which I don't know why if your name is Shaq, why would you ever go by anything else?
Well, I think sometimes it's just what people, you know, what you grew up or how you grew up and all that stuff, right? Because there's, you know, I know some people that for years you call them by their middle name, and then you find out that their middle name, that the name that you know them by, and what they're called is actually their middle name. So
that's me. Yeah.
So what's your full name?
Edward is my first name.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with Coley too.
Yeah, 1,000%. My mother, that was my father's name.
Yeah.
And so my father wanted that respect. And my mother was like, cool, we'll put that on the birth certificate. I'm not calling him that shit ever. Not once. And so it's been Coley since day one.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah. Not just the way you said it. You the way you presented it was very, Edward.
Yeah, I don't care for it either. So it's
fantasy versus reality. What category would you put Jared Goff in right now? As far as a fantasy player.
So for me, it would be very matchup dependent with him. What defense is he going up against? Is he playing in a dome or is he playing outside? These are the factors that would go into, because there are different strategies when it comes to playing quarterbacks and week to week.
You talking about in fantasy?
Yes, in fantasy.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We're in the fantasy portion of this. Yeah, for sure. There are some people who you at the beginning of the season, you drafted Mahomes, you drafted Lamar, you drafted Josh Allen. Those guys you play no matter who the defense is. They're in your mind, they're that good. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. Then there's other people who play, they don't draft a quarterback at all. They pick up a quarterback week to week based on matchups. So Jared Goff would fall more into that category. Now, so far, he's played like a guy who is deserving just because of the number. Him and Geno Smith have played like guys deserving of being in there every week.
Yep.
Do you want to believe what you've seen this season, or do you want to believe what you've seen throughout their careers? For me, I lean more careers.
Yeah. All right. Kyler Murray.
Kyler's a first half of the season you play every week, second half of the season post Call of Duty coming out, matchup dependent. DeAndre Hopkins coming back will help, but right now playing him every week.
DK Metcalf.
Did he have his normal brand intake? Did he go to the bathroom before the game? Is he going to be missing plays? These are the questions. For me, he's still a must start for me.
A must start?
All right, let me rephrase.
Hold on. A must start as a wide receiver 1, or
that's what I was about to rephrase. Yeah, well, low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm not taking him over Tyler Lockett.
I agree. Lockett slid in people's minds for some reason this year. You could get him at a lower draft position than years prior.
Yeah.
Lockett's really impressive. I feel like a lot of guys get the most underrated player tag across the league. I think he actually might be it, though.
I agree. Tyler Lockett has that same Tyler Lockett. His ability to impact the game reminds me of a younger Randall Cobb when you had Jordy Nelson, when you had other players that you depended on when James Jones was still in there, right? Also, when you had Cole Beasley back in the day with the Dallas Cowboys, there were guys that they're not going to wow you. They're just going to sneaky have, 75 yards and a touchdown. That's where I put Tyler Lockett in that category of you can go without him, but if you have him, man, he takes your team to another level.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really. I've always been a fan.
All right.
For whatever reason, he was Russ's safety valve. When he needed yards, he never looked at DK.
This is
but just real quick, while you're talking about that kind of stat line, 75, 1 touchdown, there's one guy this year, every game's had at least 80 yards, and I believe a score, and that's A.J. Brown. And this week, looking up, Underdog, our beloved Underdog, has his line at 80.5 receiving yards. Is he going to continue that streak in your mind?
They play Arizona.
They sure are.
I think he does. I think he can play well. Because Arizona offensively impacts the defense so bad, just like the Carolina Panthers offense impacts. Their defense, I wouldn't call them Arizona's defense is not great. They're pretty good, but they're expected to carry. They're carrying so much of the burden that at some point, just like my table, that screw's gonna fall out, right? That screw's gonna hit the ground, and no one's gonna expect it to come.
Yeah.
And I think the way Nick Sirianni is coaching, I think, right. Let me stop and let's finish that one because that's
yeah.
the week 5 right there.
Yep.
Cortland Sutton.
Which Russ are we getting week to week? Sutton is historically a must play.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 2 if he's your 1. You better have some damn good running backs if he's your 1. But yeah, I feel Russ has to break out of this at some point, right?
Here's why I think he won't. It has nothing to do with Russ isn't good or time has passed him. Man, this offense that they're learning, it just dawned on me actually this morning when I got my Thursday night package. Guess who's the quarterback coach?
In Denver?
Yeah. I think it's Clint Kubiak.
Okay.
Which tells me the offense that they're running and what Kurt ran is going to take a little bit more time, right?
Okay.
This offense is extremely complicated. This offense is predicated on the run game. And do the Broncos have a good running game? No.
Now Javante's out. Yeah, and now Javante's out.
So until they find their bona fide bell cow, they're going to struggle in the pass game, which means the time is going to be off. And Russ is not known to really be a timing type of quarterback. He's a scramble around, off schedule, down the field. And this down the field throwing in this kind of system is all predicated on the run game. It's not predicated on you scrambling. It's predicated on play action. Look here, boom. That's not what that's not what he is normally known for. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, adaptation, and the coach. It's a new head coach who's learning how to be a head coach. So you put all of that, you mix all of that up in the bowl, and you got the Denver Broncos, who's offensively they're struggling, right? Defensively, they're really good, and their defense is going to keep them in games.
There was one route Davante Adams ran on Patrick Surtain, the second this weekend, and you would have thought he was his shadow the way he was sticking to him. Like as clean of coverage I've ever seen.
Yeah. And he hasn't even started to really get there, right? He's so, I hate to say raw, but he's not raw. He's just inexperienced at the pro level. He's going to get better. He hasn't even hit that ride yet.
Yeah, he's just scratching the surface.
I don't even think he scratched the surface. Just the way you look at him, he's a willing tackler. Pedigree of I went against his dad. His dad is no chump. His dad is smart, intelligent, knows exactly what he's doing. And Surtain is right there too. Oh man, it's remarkable.
How does it make you feel seeing guys you played against, kids out there? Does it make you feel like how did that?
It doesn't make me feel like anything. It's really cool it doesn't make me feel anything towards myself. What is really cool to see is if you played against their dad and then you see them, you're like, man, that's really cool to see that he's picking up exactly where his dad left off, or he can be better.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, it makes me smile. Like, wow, like that's pretty cool. Like, even with Steph Curry here in North Carolina, I know his dad Dale. I know Steph when he was in high school. And to see him play and see him, when I was with the Panthers, we played down in San Francisco, and he came in the locker room after we won and see him. And it's just really cool, right? Really cool to see a kid that you knew, right? When I was in Minnesota for my most interesting jobs show that I did in Minnesota with the chef, and I got to see Blake Pro. Blake Pro is a wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, played at Elon, and I played with his dad, Ricky Pro. And Blake was a ball boy with my son, Peyton, and his brother, Austin. And it's just really cool to see that, right? Because you knew them when they were just kids.
Right.
Right. When they were just kids, like, I want to, when I grow up, I want to play ball too. And then now seeing it, it's like, man, that's pretty dope. Because you remember when when we were in practice playing catch, right? Or you sitting there eating in the cafeteria, eating wings with them. And so it's just really cool to be able to experience that. It has nothing to do with me. It's just like to sit back and go, honestly, to sit back and go, man. I don't know what your beliefs are, but it's just like, man, God's good, right? To be able to experience life in full circle.
Yeah, circle of life. That's exactly where my mind was at. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead. Let's pick some games for week 5.
So, me and YC were talking before the show. He was asking me, like, is this a lack of parity in the league? And I said, no, I think the problem is this is pure parity. Everyone's very mediocre this year, it looks like. Parity. Yeah, it's like the whole NFC West is 2-2. It's just like, man. So my bronze is Cowboys Rams. I don't feel great about that even making the list, but Cooper Rush is undefeated. Is that just going to continue?
I don't know. I think it can based off the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams are struggling, bro. Put them in the struggle bus category. They are struggling. I think we just
can't run the ball.
You like that, huh? You put them in a struggle, man. The way they play, the way the Rams, they got bullied last night.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. There goes that man again, Mama Debo.
Well, I want to ask you about this. It wasn't even something that crossed my mind until you just said it, but it was the fourth quarter. I think it was the third quarter drive that brought them into the fourth quarter. The 49ers are walking down the field. Rams have nothing for them.
Not like fast paced, but just like they strutting.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't be bothered. It's a nice spring day. They're out for a stroll.
They got their ear pods in. They over there like listening to all kind of stuff, right? Just disrespectful stuff. They going, hey, shoot, they listening to Adele. That's what they listening to.
And then they get to the 1-yard line. Kittle catches a ball. He steps out of bounds. They get to the 1-yard line. They kick a field goal. Mm-hmm. If you're on the 49ers, you're like, man, just run another play. Like we know they're not going to score if we don't convert this. They get 99 yards. They've scored 9 points to this point. We know they're not going to get it. They're probably going to get a safety if anything.
Just getting those points, man. Getting those points.
Is it really that simple?
The Baltimore Ravens would love kick that football if you go back.
Yeah.
Getting those points. Understanding getting those points. Trying to build those mental hurdles that last year they would have did something stupid.
Because that's one thing we're talking about, armchair quarterbacks and stuff. My whole Twitter timeline is like, Shanahan, you coward. Shanahan, you idiot. Why aren't you going for it? So, but is that something the fans are overreacting to and the players understand more? Like, let's take points whenever we can get them.
I think sometimes just where you are, man, and what you've experienced and what is going on. We talk about the Buffalo Bills. They talk about Buffalo Bills are 0-8 when 1-point deficits, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have those small little things that hold yourself back. And you have to do small little things to propel yourself forward. How many times have we talked about Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan, and San Francisco 49ers leaving points on the field? If they would have just did this, this would have happened.
Right.
Right? If a few of these field goal kickers in the first week for the Indianapolis Colts, for the Cincinnati Bengals, if this long snapper for the Cincinnati Bengals didn't get hurt, then the ball wouldn't have been out of whack, and just all those little things would have happened that would have helped them. Leaving points.
So there's long-term value in kicking that field goal.
Long-term value in that you don't want to be dealing with.
Interesting. So that's the thing. Fans are so instant gratification. Yeah. Give me this touchdown.
And that's why some players say, man, it's just us and the team. The fans don't matter, just because some are so cruel and so harsh. Right? When you're a cop, like, because the man kicked a field goal. Were they winning a football game at the point of when they kicked it? And some fans are calling Kyle Shanahan a coward? Because he took 3 instead of 4. And let's be honest, it's no guarantee.
For sure.
It's no guarantee that if they would have went for that play, let's role reverse. You remember on the goal line, the 49ers with Navarro Bowman? Remember that bad? Like, you don't always know what's going to happen.
Right, with Aaron Donald on the other side of the field.
Yeah, that ain't no slouch.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
That's not maybe he'll show up today and maybe he won't. Aaron Donald shows up every play.
Yeah.
He beats double teams like me and you eat grilled cheese. It is not, it's simple. So, all right.
What's your bronze?
I don't know, because it's a photo finish between Washington, Tennessee at Washington, or Chicago at Minnesota. And the reason I say that is Washington, and Chicago. Man, I don't know if Carson Wentz is really that bad and Justin Fields is really that bad, or is it just the offense is just out of whack? Like, it's interesting. If Justin Fields is here in Carolina, are we a better football team? Based off what you see out of Justin Fields right now.
I can't automatically say yes.
See, I can't either, and that's why it's such turbulence. Talk about Carson Wentz with the Commanders, and then watching Carson Wentz with the Colts, and then watching Matt Ryan with the Colts. Who is it?
Right.
It's tough, man. That's why I'm kind of stuck between those.
Yeah, if out of those 4 teams, I would lean Minnesota, Chicago, just because Justin Jefferson's going to be playing.
How about switch it and just say Tennessee's going to play Minnesota? That would actually be a better game.
It definitely would be a better game. Yeah, let the Bears and the Commanders go figure it out. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah. Who you got?
My silver is Eagles Cardinals. Especially since it's at Arizona, I feel like one of the biggest storylines of the year so far has been rain. I feel like every potentially decent matchup, it's a torrential downpour that's forced like bad, unenjoyable football on my television. So Arizona, knock on wood, there's no like dust storm or something, whatever happens in Arizona. Let's get let me see Jalen Hurts in the most perfect of conditions. Let me see Kyler against that Philly defense. That's a game I feel like could be very enjoyable.
I think we're going to learn some things about Kyler. I think we are.
Like what?
How does he navigate through a good D line? How's he going to protect himself? How's his decision making going to be? Because those guys are going to get after him. Those guys get him off his spot. It'll be interesting. Does he step up in the pocket? Arizona's offensive line isn't very good, right? Cliff Kingsbury is the cuteness of the offense. That razzle dazzle with the physicality of Philly, that's going to get you punched in the mouth. And when you get punched in the mouth, how do you respond?
Right.
I'm interested to see. For me, my silver, I'm really interested to see how does the Cincinnati at Baltimore.
This is my gold.
Like what does Baltimore do offensive line if Ronnie Stanley's still healing up this offensive line? Lamar Jackson takes over. He's been extremely well throwing the ball in the pocket. He's just been doing a lot of unbelievable things. Everything that we've said or we have question marks, he's crossed out and checked the box. He's renamed it. Just remarkable. But also with Joe Burrow, is he going to play hero ball, right? How is McDonald, defense coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens? Is he going to play cover 2 and put emphasis on Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow has not fared very well against cover 2. 3 out of the 4 interceptions that he has is out of cover 2. And cover 2 is one of those where making him process a little bit longer than he wants to. And Zach Taylor's offense is all about down the field. So I struggle with Joe Burrow because he doesn't always take what the defense gives him. He's the gift of Justin Burrow for me is he's greedy. Oh, he's greedy. But that's also the curse because when you're running that cover 2, sometimes you just gotta play boring football. I want to go deep to my big guy Higgins, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, the speed merchant, Jamar Chase. But sometimes you just gotta be boring, man. You gotta throw it down. You gotta. He does
Patriot football, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't do that. And that gets him in trouble sometimes. So
you've talked about Justin Jefferson needing Adam Thielen to go off for him to get his. Jamar Chase, after having a historic rookie season, has gotten off to a relatively slow start.
Because he's getting more attention.
Okay.
He's getting more attention, and that's why T. Higgins is playing so well.
Right.
They also are giving Jamar Chase a lot of the routes that limits him to get out of the double team, right? He's running some of those deeper routes. Deeper routes versus cover 2 plays right into the hands of the defense, right? You got to run those intermediate routes, which Jamar Chase is very capable of. But when you have that much speed, that feels like a waste, right? It's like buying a nice dress or suit to go to a fast casual restaurant. And that's where it is. So if they can figure out how to get that in between, but it's almost like it's one extreme or another. It's either a go or a slant. They're looking for sometimes they are looking for the home run ball for Jamar Chase so much that you're missing the singles and doubles in his life. The singles and doubles that Jamar Chase can give you is so much more better than the single or double someone else can give you, like in my personal opinion, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is the home run ball guy. He can't give you a lot of intermediate. He can't give you like even the pass that you saw last week, man. Releases inside, no, but gets right back outside. And what does he keep doing? He doesn't run it in. He runs a go. And Geno Smith throws a great dime to him. If that's Tyler Lockett getting inside, goes back outside, he may give you a corner post, he may give you an in, he may give you an in and shake. He'll give you so many different routes. And I think that Jamar Chase has that ability. They just don't utilize him as much, and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are those guys that do that.
Yeah.
Did that help you?
1,000%, yeah.
Yeah. Did you like that? I think you're feeling that.
So it's a Zach Taylor problem and Joe Burrow.
Well, I think it's we're really good problem.
Sure, yeah.
We're really good, and we have to figure out when to take our lumps, when to back off.
Yeah.
Right? It's a one percenter, right? Not everybody has the speed and the quarterback play that this team has. So,
is that a problem where the success of last year is almost biting them?
Yes,
and then
I think so. I think that's and that brings me to my goal has to be Dallas and the Rams.
Okay.
Because the success of the Los Angeles Rams, you look at Matthew Stafford, he's looking a little bit aged, right? The elbow may not be an issue, it's an issue.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Allen Robinson, I don't know what's going on. He doesn't seem Allen Robinson-ish.
No.
That pass they threw him in the end zone, they were lined up 3-by-1. I was like, this is going to Allen. He goes out there. Throw is a little bit behind him. Is it catchable? Yes. Is it a great play by Jimmy Ward? Yes. 50-50 ball, Allen Robinson, even in Chicago with Mitch Trubisky, he would catch that ball. Just things are different. Success of winning the Super Bowl seems they're getting everybody's best number, but they don't have the same players. Offensive line is not the same, right? Some of the corners sustained some for the Rams are injured. I think Jalen Ramsey, his shoulder still. I don't want to say it's hurt, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's great.
100%. It's not 100%.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be his spunky self as usual, right?
Yeah, I mean, they got down last night. He was trying to get in Ayuk's kitchen, and Ayuk just seemed relatively unbothered by it. He was like, "Yeah, look at the scoreboard, pal. Like, I'm not too worried about this." Yeah,
well, just things seem to be a little bit different. So, and then also with the Dallas Cowboys, look at Cooper Rush. Even look at Ezekiel Elliott. Looks even better running the ball. They seem like they've caught their stride. I don't know exactly if this. I'm not going to sit here and say there's a controversy, but you have to sit here and look at it and go, what is going on? How is this offense looking so different all of a sudden? I don't know what the answer is, but I know they're playing better football right now.
I was listening. They were promoting the game, and Tony Romo was talking about it, and you could tell in his voice he's pulling for Cooper Rush. He's not so silently putting he's rooting for Cooper Rush to do what Dak did to him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think to the core of it he is, but he may have had a thought, right? It's like when you
definitely
when you make a good shot, right? It's like you make a good shot at your on a spot, and then a couple of months later you walk past by, you go, "Yeah, I made that. Yeah, I remember when I made that shot right there."